Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is March 9th, 9 a.m. Eastern. Happy birthday to Chart Gals Dinsey, who hit the big 6-0 today. Just kidding. She's much younger than that. But we certainly appreciate all her help in answering questions and has certainly done a good job in terms of starting out and learning all the things and being able to translate them. And she's definitely a testament to teaching people technical analysis and propelling her on her own path, just as it did for me and Chart Guys James and everybody else who takes the time to teach people. It definitely ups our own game as well. So checking into SPY, we have a bullish reaction to the jobs numbers this morning. We have support. The low of consolidation is a key level heading into the open, 275.21, and the high is resistance of 276.06. So we're going to be watching the resistance level on the daily time frame. First, let's look how the hourly looks. Hourly chart, bull break again. Look at this hourly 20 period. And yesterday, as we were pulling back, was highlighting that the hourly consolidation is still very bullish, and we're testing the 20 period support. We bounced off of that, and here's another bounce pre-market, keeping that trend line, or I shouldn't say the trend line, but the moving average, which is ascending, and keeping the bulls strong. So we are seeing a gap up open. As we know, with gap up opens, we need to see the 20 period 5-minute moving average hold to keep those bulls in full control. And the key resistance on the daily time frame is up here at 278.92. So again, yesterday it was saying that the odds of us breaking the range that I'm watching on the daily chart today is not likely because it would require a 2% day in either direction. And we're going to be approaching resistance, but I would be very surprised if we see another percent plus from where we currently stand pre-market to get to that level. So I'm going to be watching next week for a break of this range. It's still possible today, but it would require a big bull day, and we'll see if that's what we get. Checking in on the dollar reaction, we are looking at a potential lower high. So a little bit of weakness here, but if we look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see the bulls are still in control on the bounce at this point. And I'm watching key resistance of 90.93 and support of 89.43. That's the range to be watching, and we're right in the middle of that range, closer to a bear break than a bull break, but not by much, and we'll have to be waiting patiently for a break of this range. Checking in on gold. Gold on the daily time frame, we're waiting for that higher low comparative to 1302.68. So that's the key level the bulls want to maintain, and then we'll be watching our double top of resistance, which the bulls will have to break in order to see some follow through. So tightening ranges everywhere. Markets are tightening daily ranges. The dollar, gold, oil did see a bear break yesterday, not by a whole lot, but the bulls on the daily time frame are going to have to break this little lower high, lower low pattern. So even if we do see some follow through by the bulls, we will anticipate a lower high in the low $60 range, and our support right now is $59.99, right around that psychological $60 level. Checking in on natural gas, we're pulling back now. So that weekly lower high, look at that candlestick. That is a bearish candlestick showing an upper wick of profit taking, and we are looking for a tightening weekly pattern to continue to play out. We will look for a higher low to form if we continue to consolidate next week compared to 256.5. And this is going to be a really nice pattern when it breaks, but could stay for another month or so, so need to be patient. Cryptocurrency bounce finally underway, but still have some proving to do. So the hourly bounce, we have our higher low and higher high, a potential hourly bull flag right now, and we're still watching these exponential resistances because for the past 4 days, every single bounce attempt has been unable to close above the 26 period exponential moving average on the hourly time frame. Once these levels become support, once we see a bull cross of the 12 over the 26 back to the upside, then we know that the daily chart is going to see a bit of a bounce. So the bulls are trying to form bullish reversal candlesticks on the daily chart today, and I am expecting some green this weekend for this bounce to follow through, but keeping in mind that the daily chart is owned by the bears right now, and we will anticipate a lower high on this bounce. So I would be looking to about 10,000 as a key resistance level and a potential for our lower high to be set on the daily time frame. So Litecoin following through as well. I am currently in Litecoin. I scaled in to a third of my position last night, and then I entered on the bull break with another half position this morning, just a market buy when resistance broke. I've taken pretty much the profit of the position that I market ordered entered. I have taken that profit now, and the original entry that I had down here with a low 162 average, I'm still holding because I am looking for this bounce to play out a little bit longer term, and I am looking for the daily chart to see some of that bounce. If we were going to see a daily chart, which is a nice bullish reversal candlestick right now, if we close here or better on Litecoin, a Dragonfly Doji, but I would be looking for a daily lower high, potentially a target to be the 190s here, which is why I want to keep a little bit of this position a little bit longer term to see it play out. Checking in on Ethereum, still the weakest bounce, but it is bouncing and correlating with everybody else. Look at the 26 period Hourly resistance right here, we're comparing it to Bitcoin. Bitcoin still hasn't broken it, but look at Litecoin. Litecoin on this resistance, it's now support. So this is a common pattern for the last, I'd say, 4 months, where the oversold bounces, Litecoin sees the biggest percent gains. And then over the past couple months, it's gone Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. And it continues to play out time and time again, which is why I do play Litecoin on these oversold bounces, because they continually have bigger gains. Multiple inside hourly bars on Litecoin. So Ethereum, if we were going to choose a target on the daily time frame for a lower high, I'd be looking up in the 760 area or so. Again, these are just rough visualizations and educated guesses. Really what we're going to have to see for the Bitcoin bulls now, it's going to require a 4-hour higher low and higher high to have confidence in a significant momentum shift. So right now, that's why I'm taking some profit on Litecoin up at these levels, because there is the possibility that we do pull back and have to see that 4-hour consolidation. But as of right now, looking really good for the bulls in terms of this bounce. Of course, depending on when you got in, but any entry last night is doing pretty well at this point and pretty comfortable. So we'll see how long this bounce plays out. But again, I do anticipate some follow through the weekend. Checking in on what are we going to be watching today? We're watching Canadian MJ again. We saw the bulls show up at the end of the day for WEED, and we're looking for some follow through. We're looking for an hourly higher low and a higher high to let us know that the bull flag of daily consolidation is done and the bulls are ready to head back to the upside. So Canadian MJ still absolutely on watch, especially with market strength here. And if this market is going to see a bull break on that daily time frame next week, Canadian MJ is only going to benefit. And now our key stop levels, if you are looking for a swing position, because again, we are in an uptrend on the daily time frame, stop levels is the low of yesterday for any swing positions. So that's what we're keeping an eye on. We're going to be watching Amazon all-time highs today. We'll see if Netflix can get back to the all-time high. But overall, bulls in control. Again, still watching CMG. CMG is in the no trade zone, but it is getting close to a bull break. 325 is the level we need to close over, and we're going to be watching for that level today. And it looks like we could test that early on for CMG. After 325 is 330.14, and then looking up at 345.88. So let's get into some 5-minute and hourly setups as we head into the morning. We'll start it off with IN.CA. I'm not going to be able to get that on Fidelity on the shorter term time frames, but key resistance from yesterday is 173, and it looks like we're going to see a higher opening Canadian MJ. So the key resistance for all Canadian MJ is the high of yesterday. If the bulls break the high of yesterday, the bull flag on IN is looking really good on the daily time frame. So we were looking for, a 10% bounce off of consolidation, and we need to see a little bit more follow through to get that. And actually, we did get well over a 10% bounce yesterday. So keeping an eye, again, same thing, hourly higher lows and higher highs. Resistance is 173 and 179 on IN. LIX.V. Bull action at the end of the day with big bull volume on the daily time frame, breaking the lower high pattern. Key resistance is 258, and then after 258, I'm looking at we already broke that resistance, so big break at 256. So bulls in full control, 260, 265. Psychological levels will come next. The bulls really want to hold 254 today. If we can't hold 254, there's a lack of support immediately below it for about 20 cents or so. So the bulls really want to hold 254 to have continued confidence in continuation. MSFT, certainly a healthy tech name, and the key resistance to be watching is a bit of a double top at the all-time high. We did get a new all-time high a couple weeks ago, and resistance yesterday, 95.10. We are going to look to break that level today. Hourly 20-period moving average support holding on the way up yesterday, and the next key major resistance is 95.84, and that is the all-time high. So 95.84 breaking would be a great sign. 96 psychological would come after it. And the hourly higher low that the bulls want to maintain is pretty much the low of yesterday. We hit that low of yesterday near the end of the day. So 93.77 aside from that hourly 20-period support, which also held a couple tests yesterday as well. So definitely one of the lead tech bulls as well here, coming up on the all-time high, as Amazon and Netflix are right near that all-time high as well. And Google's going to be making its way towards the all-time high. But watching for Google to make that daily equilibrium bull break, which is only going to be a positive for the market overall. BA is certainly still holding up strong. BA has been holding the weekly exponential moving averages for a long time. It got real tight yesterday, and now we're looking for a bull break. So high of yesterday, 352.50, potential small gap up, and a break of 355.21 will have us looking right back at the all-time high. So 355.21 is the key resistance to be watching today. Same thing, we don't really have an hourly high or low aside from the low of yesterday. So it's the hourly 20-period moving average. And if we're looking at extended hours action, support is 348.38, which is ideal for the bulls to hold. And we'll see if we can break that daily level, 355.21. PD.TO. Very weak on the daily time frame, lower highs and lower lows, breaking support yesterday. So bears in full control. Hourly RSI is oversold down at 21. If we break 364, the next support on the daily is down at 355. Bulls need to see an hourly higher low and higher high. And right now, we're nowhere near that happening. Hourly exponential resistance for 3 days in a row. Have to get over hourly exponential resistance as step number 1 for a bounce. TECK. B, and I'm not going to be able... Actually, I don't know if this is... I guess Canadian. Daily chart, clear bear break, dumping down, lower high, lower low. Support after 34.20, the low of the day, is all the way down at 33.28. So again, bears in complete control. Lower highs and lower lows on the hourly. Until we see that shift, we're not going to see any kind of bounce on the daily. So the first resistance to be watching is 34.78, a little hourly bounce attempt at the end of the day yesterday. Tesla on the daily is still in a downtrend as well. Lower highs and lower lows rejecting from daily exponential resistance. The low of yesterday, 326.27. The fact that we're seeing a gap down open, again, Tesla has been showing us its true colors the past few days. If you look at the daily chart and compare SPY to Tesla, Tesla told us it was more bearish 4 days ago. 4 days ago, it was a significantly weaker candlestick than SPY. Since then, we have pulled back and broken to a lower low on the daily. And now with this gap down open, we're looking at 321.70 support. So not expecting too much downside with the market strength overall. But again, the fact that we're not seeing strong bullish correlation on this move by the market is definitely telling. So Tesla is a lead bear comparative to most individual names at this setup. And our new daily lower high is 333.30, the low of yesterday. So I do anticipate, not a huge downside move unless we see market pullback and profit taking in the market overall. 321.74 is the level to be watching. WYNN, and it dropped down to 170.80, looks like after hours, but on no volume, very low volume. So here we are, bulls in full control, looking for follow through. And again, lack of resistance in this area. There is nothing but psychological resistance levels up until the 200 range. So 188, 189, 190. And the ideal level for the bulls to hold is 181.25, a little higher low from pre-market this morning. And we're certainly overextended with the 5-minute RSI up at 76, so a bit chasing if looking for a bull entry to start today. Definitely too extended for me personally. NETE. Looks like pre-market we had a big bull move, huge bull move, and then profit taking. So giving most of that back. A lot of pullback the last 30 minutes, seeing profit taking. Next resistance on the daily chart after 1075. Still, actually, no, it's a much... Let's see, it's a lower open. So there's definitely profit taking going on. And if we see a break of 950, lack of support nearby. So resistance is 1075, the high of yesterday. And 950 breaking, we're going to be looking at a lack of support nearby. The hourly 20 period would come next. So really 950 and then $9 is the next support level. Profit taking underway. Why? Week close yesterday. Support is down at 119. So we are seeing a little bit of a higher open. Hourly time frame all over the place. Trying to see a bounce. Hourly 20 period moving average is resistance. And if we lose the daily higher low pattern, bulls buy $1 every day, forming a higher low. If we lose that pattern, that is certainly a red flag for the bulls that will have us looking down at the 100-day moving average support, down around 115. So bulls trying to follow through. Inside bar on the daily time frame is pretty much best case scenario for the bulls, which would mean we have to hold 119, the low of yesterday. Baba bulls looking great. Looking at the recent high on the daily time frame for Baba, that was up at 190.23. So resistance from yesterday still stands. Support from the 5-minute time frame is 188.42. And we look at the hourly chart, and bulls grinding against the hourly 200 period support and holding it and trying to make their way back to the recent high. So bulls want to break that high of yesterday, otherwise a daily inside bar is very likely. APH, weakest Canadian MJ major name. Support is 1357 and resistance is 1417. Looking at the hourly time frame, we need an hourly higher low and higher high to give us an indication that the daily chart is done consolidating for now. And the last lower high is that high of yesterday, 1417. EYPL. PayPal bulls looking good. Resistance is the high of yesterday, 80.49. Going to test that first thing. If we can't break it, it's a little red flag for the bulls. But after 80.49, we are looking at 81 and 82 psychological resistances because the next price level is 82.17. A little bit of space if the bulls can break that high of yesterday. And support will be the hourly 20-period moving average. Amazon grinding its hourly 20-period moving average as well before continuation. All-time high coming in Amazon. As I keep saying, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but as long as these major tech bulls continue to hit all-time highs and remain in full control, the market bears are not going to have any traction. So Amazon all-time high, 1565, 1570. Psychological resistance levels. The gap would fill on consolidation at 1554.88. And we're watching that 20-period 5-minute moving average as support on a gap up open. Have to hold it for the bulls to remain in full control. RTI.V. Very weak on the hourly time frame. Hourly 20-period moving average resistance for 4 days in a row now. And breaking support. This is one name that is clearly not breaking the downtrend right now. It's still lower highs and lower lows on the daily. Close at the low of the day yesterday. After 124, we're looking down at 115 as the next support. So definitely a clear laggard. I'm assuming this is the Canadian MJ sector. And if it is, this is one of the weakest charts I've seen just because everybody else has been seeing bull momentum the last week. Clearly no bull momentum here at this point. Hourly RSI will be oversold if we drop down below 124 to start today. XBI. Bulls in full control, and this daily chart for XBI has been showing us bullish action for the last couple days by breaking to a higher low and higher high, which most individual names and sectors have not done yet. 95.62, high of yesterday, going to be tested first thing. After 95.62 is 95.93, and there's only a few resistance levels left before the high that we've seen on this sector in over a year and a half at this point. So significant bull move and only a couple resistance levels left. First thing is the high of yesterday. MRE.TO. MRE, strong close over the 50-day moving average finally yesterday, but still some price levels to break. We need to get over 15.29. A break of 15.29 and 15.31 will be bullish. And it was a perfect tightening range on the daily between moving average, support, and resistance. You don't even have to draw trend lines when those moving averages are doing it for you. And a break of 15.31 is a goal for the bulls today to see some follow-through from that solid candlestick yesterday. Checking Netflix. So Netflix is a potential bull flag on the daily. And the key support is the higher low of 315.41. And resistance, 322.92. V. The bulls also looking good on the hourly. Tight range on the daily, looking to break bullish today. 123.24. Key resistance test first thing. If you break that level, 124 psychological is next. And the hourly higher lows, last hourly higher low was 122 even. BKNG looking very strong yesterday. A little bit of an upper wick of profit taking from 21.69 all-time high. We're looking for new all-time highs today, same as Amazon. And we're looking at 21.75, 21.80 as the next two resistance levels. And this will be a good, bearish scalp eventually. But as long as this market has strength, we're going to see the correlation remain. And I personally, again, don't fight against blue sky bulls. So bulls in full control, and the hourly higher low pattern remains. Most recent hourly higher low is 21.50. NVDA inside bar on the daily time frame yesterday, 239.39 support. Resistance is 242.95. Going to be testing that first thing. If we get the daily inside bar bull break, 243.95 comes after it. So those are the two resistance levels, pretty tight on the daily, and bulls would love to break those levels heading into next week. We would be closing in on a bullish MACD cross on the daily as well if we get that. And the hourly higher low is 240.60. Checking back in on SPY as we approach the open. By bulls continuation, little 5-minute higher low and higher high. Key support remains 275.21 in the short term, the low of consolidation on the reaction to the jobs numbers this morning. Canadian MJ seeing a higher open. Key resistance will be the high of yesterday for Canadian MJ. And the market bulls are flexing. Question is, can they hold up all day and close strong heading into next week? But right now, just statistically, on the weekly time frame for SPY, in terms of what is more likely to happen, a bull break or a bear break, the bulls are absolutely in favor. There is no doubt about it. And we don't have the clear bull signal yet until we get over 278.92. But again, with this bull momentum, they have favor, and we'll be looking for this break on the the daily time frame next week. Checking in on crypto, bull flag on the hourly time frame for Bitcoin, trying to follow through. Litecoin up at the high of the bounce. I've still got some sell orders spaced out on Litecoin. And we successfully have hourly exponential moving averages as support on Litecoin. Now the Bitcoin bulls need to see that happen as well. ISRG. Not much going on pre-market, but on the daily time frame, the bulls are definitely in favor. 433.33 resistance, the high of yesterday, so a small gap up open is likely. 436.21 breaking would have us looking up towards that all-time high. That's a key resistance. 436.21 is the level the bulls want to break today. Hourly 20-period moving average as support. And the price level for support is 429 on the hourly to keep higher lows. US 10Y. The US 10Y is seeing some bullish action. Again, I'm not interested in it until we break 3, personally. It's definitely in a bullish uptrend. It's a bull flag on the weekly trying to follow through. But even if we head up to $3 in the next couple of weeks on the US 10Y, that weekly RSI is going to be up around 80. And that weekly RSI hitting 80 has only ever happened, or I shouldn't say ever, but it does not happen often is the bottom line. And I'm just looking back at the weekly chart going back into 2014, and it hasn't happened since then. So it would be very overbought if we do confirm this weekly bull flag and head to $3, or 3%, I should say. But it's 3.04, which is the key resistance, which would be another bull break of lower high resistance from previous levels. Bitcoin higher high now on the hourly, bull flag confirmed. Litecoin, big move up towards 180. Placing a couple orders to continue scaling out of LTC with some nice gains from yesterday and this morning. And checking in on oil to see market comparison. The oil bulls are out today with a nice 5-minute higher low, higher high pattern. And we'll still need to see 4-hour higher low and higher high for oil bulls to get momentum back in their favor. So we got 4 minutes until the open. I'm going to go take a nap. SPY hourly RSI at this point is 70, so there is still potential room for upside, not too overbought. All depends on whether the bulls can hold 275.21 to start the morning. Win hourly RSI at this point is up at 80. And bulls can run when you have a lack of resistance. It's not the same as filling a gap, but it's as close as you can get to filling a gap when it's coming from an all-out dump. So here's the open. The SPY bulls are holding on to start. The resistance is going to be the high pre-market, 276.13. Tesla is so clearly standing out like a sore thumb as a lead bear. In terms of lead bulls, Netflix percentage-wise and Baba are standing out. Amazon, of course, with that all-time high. BKNG with a new all-time high. Financial sector, everybody, all sectors are up about the same at this point. And we are watching Canadian MJ, which is not seeing a very strong start, but holding on just fine. 32.55 key resistance on WEED. Bulls need to break that level to have some solid momentum heading into next week. CRON, nice follow through from that end of the day bounce yesterday. And that's a mistake where I made some okay profit, but I definitely exited Cron too early, and I am going to go back and review that and look to make some adjustments. But always nice when learning experiences are coming off of profit as well. But that could have been a week maker trade that I let go too early. So CMG still struggling in the mid 320s. So still watching. The range for me on SPY this morning is 275.21 support and 276.10 resistance. Or 276.13, the high at pre-market. LTC, nice continuation for the bulls. A little bit of profit taking on SPY. We're heading down to our key 5-minute support level. WEED pulling back now, so we're looking at it on the hourly time frame. And the hourly chart has to give us a higher low and a higher high. So right now the low of 31.41. See where we get that higher low at. Also watching the 15-minute time frame. But essentially, if we do not break the high of yesterday, we know we're still consolidating. And we'll probably have a daily inside bar to be watching on Monday if we can't break the high of yesterday. Here's SPY coming to our key support level, 275.21. And the 20-period 5-minute moving average support will be just after that. Checking in on Tesla, the daily time frame, filling the gap back to the upside already. So a lot of individual names have tightening daily ranges that favor the bulls, and Tesla is a tightening daily range that favors the bears. So keeping an eye on Google, and the Google daily time frame was close to breaking the equilibrium pattern bullish. It's 1144, very key resistance on Google. That's a potential top fishing play to be looking at, very low risk in terms of, taking a top fishing play and exiting if we see a few more dollars to the upside and a bull break. The odds do favor a bull break because of market direction and Google's strength, but the risk to reward definitely favors reward on that kind of trade setup. As we have seen Google now 7 green days in a row and coming up on a double top on the daily at 1144. So ideal scenario for a bear would be to make an entry, to see Google bulls unable to break 1144, and then see SPY lose support at 275.21. Facebook, nice bull move to start. The 5-minute higher low from pre-market is 183.65. Key daily resistance is 185.66. So that's the range to be watching today on Facebook. Trying to break to a higher low and a higher high on the daily ever since the bottom of the dump. And breaking that resistance level would do it. WEED, new high of the day, making its way to 32.56 key resistance. That is the level today. Checking YY as the SPY bull or SPY bears are heading down to support. Google pulling back $3-4 from the high of the day. YY is all over the place still. Still holding 119, the low of yesterday, but tons of volatility in each direction. And overall, it favors the bears just because of the amount of pullback we saw yesterday. Must hold those daily higher lows or the bears are going to take over very clearly. The SPY bulls still holding that support level. CMG now in the red, unable to break 325 resistance. Tesla bears getting some follow through. Tesla's looking down at the low recently on the daily time frame, and that's down at 321.74 key support. Tech and financial sector still holding up. Biotech sector pulling back a bit. WEED back in the red. So bouncing around within a tight range. And now the 20-period 5-minute moving average support on SPY is pretty much lined up with 275.21. And pre-market after 275.21, there is a lack of support nearby. So patiently waiting to see if the bulls or bears are going to take this level out. TSRO. Weak down at the low of the day. Inside bar on the daily time frame, very likely with how trading has started today. Daily upper Bollinger Band support is 68.17. The bulls will try and remain to close above. Certainly overextended the last 7 days, and we're looking for healthy consolidation. Hourly 20-period support, 68.20 being tested. And I'd say at this point, even just 12 minutes into the trading day, a daily inside bar, 85% chance of happening. So if SPY bulls are able to hold this 5-minute support and break the high pre-market, it will certainly favor all bulls. As Netflix is creeping its way towards its all-time high. High of today is currently less than $2 shy of that new all-time high. Financial sector standing out a little bit as the lead sector, not by much. NETE. Bearish candlestick on the daily looks almost to be a sure thing, although we still are above the upper Bollinger Band of 907. And it's just the day range to be watching, the low of the day and the high of the day. And it is all over the place. Very high risk, high reward name. Looks like Google's hitting a new low of the day, that top fishing play. panning out a bit. Actually, we're not at a new low of the day just yet. Oh, we did get it by 30 cents. Bears definitely want to see a little bit more convincing bearish action and a loss of the 20-period 5-minute moving average, but if SPY's not going to give us weakness, I don't anticipate too much Google weakness. Have to break that 275.21 level. Litecoin bulls still at the high of the move, showing strength. CRON. Looking at the Canadian ticker, is weak down at the lows, so not seeing much follow through. And daily inside bars look more likely than not on most Canadian MJ with this setup. Looking at CRON from the bounce yesterday, 15-minute trying to form a higher low compared to the low of yesterday. But in terms of that hourly trend changing, it's not changing. It's just a lower high right now, keeping us in consolidation mode on the daily time frame. And we are still in consolidation mode for all Canadian MJ that I see. Let's see what IMLFF is doing. Still in a tightening range on the hourly there as well. Unable to break the high of yesterday. Still higher lows and lower highs on the hourly. Looks like SPY bulls might save the Google bulls. We'll see if SPY can give us a new high of the day. Just scaled out a little bit more. LTC 180, 179. And it's just at this point, it's the hourly time frame and the 4-hour chart for, really the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin and Litecoin and all these names, we're going to set a lower high on the 4-hour time frame and then have to form a higher low. The question is just, when is that going to happen? So that's why I'm taking profit. And again, just not being greedy. This is definitely a solid week maker of a trade from last night. So I will lock that in every time when we are in a downtrend. And again, anticipating that over the weekend, we are likely to see some higher levels from here, but I'm not going to ride it out and hold during the dips. I'm going to sell on the way up and then potentially add on the pullbacks. I should say reload on the pullbacks. And also the LTC 15-minute RSI is approaching 75, so getting a little bit extended, and certainly more extended than we've seen in days. So SPY Bulls taking charge at the high of the day, trying to test the high of pre-market. And that resistance level to break again is 276.13. Lead bull, Netflix percentage-wise, testing or approaching the all-time high. TRVG bull still got it. That daily chart is so nice because that higher low pattern never broke. Inside bar bull break on the daily right at the open today. Highest price we've seen in over a month. And TRVG 880 is the next resistance, followed by 893. Breakout mode on the daily, trying to close above the upper Bollinger Band, and bulls want to see ideally 800,000 would be solid bull volume if the bulls could pull that off. By a little bit of a double top with the high of pre-market and the high of the day. Bulls trying to get through that resistance as CMG rejecting and at the low of the day, staying within its no trade zone on the daily. Taking more Litecoin profit at 182.65. Just scaling out every couple of dollars. This hourly move is getting very extended. The 15-minute RSI is approaching upper 70s. And again, just looking at the 4-hour time frame for crypto, we will likely top out this morning and then have to see a 4-hour higher low. And then we'll be watching for bull MACD crosses on the 4-hour time frame. WYNN. Spy's on screen because I'm watching Spy. So WYNN is a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame. Obviously a lot of time to go. And right now it is a bearish reversal spinning top candlestick indecision after this kind of a big bull move. But the bears are going to have to lose the 20-period 5-minute moving average support to see any kind of downside. It's an hourly bearish reversal candlestick as well. So certainly some profit taking after getting so extended. On this consolidation, we will still set a higher low on the hourly. And it will require a lower high and a lower low to shift momentum to daily consolidation. Google's still struggling, even though the SPY bulls are holding on just fine. And struggling relatively speaking, of course. Taking more Litecoin profit, 183.79. Out most of my position at this point. Still got another order to go. Win key test right now, the 20-period 5-minute moving average. And the 5-minute chart is a little equilibrium. Low of the day, high of the day, higher low, lower high. So getting real tight on the 5-minute time frame, and we should see a break within 10 minutes. MJ shorts have not been showing on Fidelity for well over a week. So SPY bulls getting some more follow through. Never broke that support level on the 5-minute time frame. NVDA bulls responding well. Nice bull break on the daily over 243.95. Next level is 248.10. And the 20-period 5-minute moving average will be support. SPX next higher level. All about key 2789. So still a possibility that we form a lower high compared to that key daily resistance and stay in a tightening pattern into next week. So SPY pre-market high still hasn't broken, even though it's actually a double top to the penny now. So still watching SPY. Canadian MJ down at the lows, inside bar on the daily looking more and more likely. JET.V, and I am all out of Litecoin. JET.V is a daily inside bar, pretty much a sure thing at this point. Resistance is the hourly 20-period moving average, and support is 5-minute 109. Netflix trying to confirm the daily bull flag with a new all-time high. That's the only resistance left, 325.79. And then we'll look at psychological levels. The bull's still strong. Win bulls holding the 20 period 5-minute moving average support, so new must hold level is 187.11. If that level breaks, the odds of a new low of the day are very likely. There's a convincing bull break on SPY. So we got all-time high BKNG. Netflix all-time high is less than 50 cents away. NVDA bulls making their way to the front of the lead bull category. And 20 period 5-minute moving average will be our new gauge of strength in the short term for SPY. Now that support held, it's a really nice example of having a clear level to be watching from support as a benchmark to know whether the bulls or bears have momentum this morning. And because the bulls held that level, they keep momentum. Got some bids in for Litecoin to try and make a little 5-minute flip on this pullback. XBI is very tight on the 5-minute time frame. 95.14 is a double bottom. It's a descending triangle pattern on the 5-minute. Very clear stop level. And the bulls have to break the lower highs. So SPY hourly RSI checking back in. We're still at 73, not too overextended. Again, bulls in full control as long as the 20-period 5-minute moving average holds as support. Still all bulls on SPY. Psychological resistance levels as we approach the key daily resistance in the 278s. Again, not anticipating to get there unless the bulls have a big time Friday. BKNG all-time high test. Netflix is at the all-time high. Amazon all-time high today. Watching Google and key 1144 resistance. Top fishing play had the potential to work out if SPY broke bearish, but of course it did not. OSTK. Bouncing off the low of the day to change the trend, we'll need a 5-minute higher low and higher high. It is a daily, I would consider it a daily inside bar. We did break the high yesterday by 5 cents, but essentially the same thing. Hourly time frame tight. So Bull's still holding on by holding the 100-day moving average, and we've held this 100-day moving average on the last 5-6 tests. And the question now is, can the Bulls give us a 5-minute higher low and higher high to shift momentum back to the Bulls after the sell-off in the morning? MU is a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame at this point. Checking the hourly, it's still all bulls with the hourly 20-period moving average being tested after the hourly 20 period is 54.64 support. Bulls still holding on, but seeing the first signs of a little bit of profit taking, but again, SPY's at the high of the day, so market overall still strong. But MU is definitely due for some consolidation. We went 46 to 56 in 3 days. And that's easily over 20%. And I might have just said 3 days, but I meant 6 days. So price action for SPY, the new 5-minute higher low will be 275.73. Apple bulls following through off the 20-period 5-minute moving average support. Bull break on the daily over 178.25 from our little mini equilibrium pattern the last 2 weeks. Next resistance level is 179.78. So Apple Bull's looking good, and we're looking up at the all-time high. There is not much resistance until the all-time high for Apple. Lead tech bulls holding on and keeping the market strong. I appreciate that, Matthew, but next week I'm going to be traveling, and I've got some meetings and things that are going to have me cutting out a little early, a couple days, so I'm going to stick it out today, at least until noon. TECK.B. So TECK, just looking at the 5-minute time frame, we do have a little higher low, higher high pattern. So new support is 34.71 and resistance after 34.97, 34.98, a little double top at that level. Then I'm looking up at 35.12. Daily chart trying to form a bullish reversal candlestick, and an inside bar is pretty much a sure thing. EDIT. Little 5-minute higher low pattern. The last higher low was 42.87 for the bulls to hold. It's a daily inside bar right now on edit, trying to close above the upper Bollinger Band. And if we don't break the high from yesterday, 43.63, a daily inside bar is very likely. So we'll look for the SPY bulls to form another 5-minute higher low on this consolidation. They certainly have some space to work with. 275.73, the last level. It changes with every situation, responding to Don's question. So it changes every situation. If we have an oversold hourly RSI on Canadian MJ at the end of the day, I'll say if we gap down open the next day, I'm going to be a buyer. And I always have a trade plan in terms of a target for an entry, an exit target, and a stop loss. And a perfect example is yesterday during crypto, we were in a significant pullback, and I just set my guidelines. I talked about it in the video yesterday where I just said, I am not touching this trade unless we get 15-minute hourly and 4-hour RSI all oversold, or if we get bullish action over a certain exponential moving average that didn't follow through. So I just sat there and waited. I had no urge to buy in and try and buy the dip until my conditions were met. And then once those conditions were met, I started to execute the order. So it's just setting the game plan, eliminating any questions, any emotion, and anything, and only just following the game plan. So for CMG, I've been calling it a no trade zone for about a week at this point, and it's very easy to lay off CMG while it's in this range because it hasn't met either of my criteria, either bearish nor bullish for the trade. For WEED, at this point, I'd use the low of yesterday, and after today, the odds are we're going to have a daily inside bar, so I would use the daily inside bar low on Monday. So I'm going to wrap up the morning webcam here. SPY bulls still in full control. Healthy 5-minute consolidation at this point. We have our lead bulls standing out with new all-time highs on a handful of names. And we got CMG doing nothing. We got Tesla still weak overall. Still watching Google 1144 double top. I'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage. I hope you have a good rest of your Friday morning. Sometimes I bring the inflection of my voice up like I have other stuff to say and then I just don't have anything else to say. So I'll see you soon.